Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Olive Branch. This is a brand new show on OBTV. Executive producer Sam Rikard. And we have a very distinguished guest here in the studio today to start off the series. Introduce yourself.
Jim Shackleford.
Do you think that you have to introduce yourself, or does everybody already know your name? And they know
Oh
who
no,
you are?
I have a pretty low profile as long as I've been here still, but I appreciate this introduction to the community, and I wish this show very well because Olive Branch can use a program like this.
I think so too. Olive Branch is a wonderful community, and we're grateful to be
is.
part of it and have this new show. Now let's get right into your story because you have an incredible life story, and thank you for your service in the military and the Air Force. And but I see two really cute little guys up here. Let's talk about these guys.
Okay, the first one I was probably about 4 or 5 years old. The second one I was probably about 87 years old. So I'm now admittedly enjoying my second childhood, and I'm fortunate that everybody seems to be putting up with it.
Well, you just had a big birthday. I got invited to the birthday party at your store. Now that's Shack Antique Malls, and it's right here in Old Town, Olive Branch.
Even the mayor sent me a nice little postcard
saw that.
celebrating my birthday. But I've been
We have a
blessed.
wonderful mayor. I appreciate him doing that. I was there when you got it, and that really meant a lot.
And I was telling Mr. Rikard that I never worked a day in my life because I was blessed with always enjoying what I was doing.
And we're looking at some pictures right now, some people you're blessed to do. These are the people I was raised on because you worked for WHBQ as a photographer.
I did. And Dave Brown, Weather, Ed Craig, News, Dan Stewart, who later went into the real estate business, and Charlie B. Watson. And we had a great news team.
And Dave Brown, everybody knows because every time we had a storm, that's who they would watch. And now we watch Mayor Rikard on Weather Mayor.
Yeah.
And he's going to actually come on the show later. At the end of the show, we're going to talk about what we do at OBTV and all he does for traffic and weather that maybe people don't even know about yet. So we're going to get him there. Who is this, Phyllis Dillard?
Phyllis Dillard. And the beautiful part about after I took this picture, she said, "Shaq, let me have your camera for a minute." And I gave it to her. And she came over and put her arm around and handed his phone to a buddy and said, "Here, take a picture of me and my photographer."
Nice.
I found out that most of the celebrities that came in from California were super, super nice. Every once in a while you had an exception.
Yeah.
But most of them came in were just fantastic people.
That's really nice. And Phyllis Dillard was really popular, 60s, 70s.
Yes, sir.
And so she came into WHBQ.
Yeah, do a
to be
promo.
interviewed. That's very nice. Who
Now
is
this was Pete Fountain. And when I first started with WHBQ, it was on Madison Avenue, right across town in a building up there. And this picture, Pete Fountain came in, was done in the old studio up on Madison.
That's really nice. And I think we have a couple more. I think we're covering them up. I'm going to lean a little bit this way or this way because who are we talking to? I see somebody behind you. I can't tell if that's a younger version of you or is that Tom Jones?
Well, one of them is Tom Jones, and the other one is
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton. Yes, sir. My memory chip is showing my second
We have
childhood.
Sam Rikard who has total recall. So he's off screen right now. He's
But
producing our show.
George Klein had always had these celebrities coming in for a dance party, and Wayne signed his, but Tom Jones wouldn't sign photographs.
And now he's tied in with Graceland, which is ironic.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to go to George Klein's home, I guess about 6 years ago, and he invited me to his home. It was interesting, and you and I both talked about knowing him, what an incredible person.
Well, I tell you what, the interesting thing about George, every time Elvis put out a new record, he'd want a film to go behind the record. And all the years I was there, he never, ever asked Elvis to let me into Graceland. I had to do all the film work outside the fence.
Man, you just had to get out there and get it going.
I had to do some make-believe.
You did. So your years at WHBQ, that meant a lot to you, and I've seen, if you go to your store, let's talk about your store a little bit.
Well, we're in Old Town Olive Branch. Been here almost 25 years now, and the city's been really good to us. And we downsized a few years ago, and I've got some of the best dealers in the world. My dealers are like extended family. We're more like just a large family, and we love to see people come in, and we deal when we can. When we can't, but we try to get everything priced where somebody can afford it and want it.
And the date of shooting this, we're a couple months out from Christmas. Of course, it's
Yeah.
open year round, but you like Christmas? Is that a big time?
One of my dealers put up Christmas decorations for me yesterday.
Nice, very nice.
I don't have a picture of them with me.
We have pictures of the clocks. Now that's popular. What I like about your store is just to browse because it seems like it's always something new.
Well, one thing we have to offer, and is our clock man is there Wednesday through Sunday, and he rebuilds every clock there. He guarantees them for a year, and if you have a clock, he repairs most clocks, and he guarantees his repair for a year. But he's a walking encyclopedia. You can tell the history and the manufacturer and everything. He knows his clocks.
And we're afraid if we don't keep promoting what's happening that this is going to be all going to be a lost art someday. You know, the clocks and the antiques and the things that you sell.
I tell you what, I'm very concerned about that too. The younger generation is not really as interested in the old collectibles as our generation was, and the older generation now is trying to get rid of what they have before they pass on. So we're going to see a change in the antique. It's going to only be the highly sought after collectibles that I think are going to
What's
manage.
most popular right now? What are people coming in the door asking for?
Well, I got one dealer that has men den. They enjoy his. He has military and things. And of course, the clock man always, they talk to him and he loves to share his information with them. And I don't know, usually they come in, most of them come in and looking for a particular piece of furniture or a lamp or something to, we've got a lot of lamps, we've got a lot of wall hanging pictures.
Yeah.
And we just invite everybody to come in and take a look.
Well, what's the best way to find your place and give you a call? I think we have the picture of the outside of your store, which a lot of people recognize because we're across from Fins and Feathers. A lot of people know where that is.
Yeah.
The Old Town Bakery, which we bought my mom's birthday cake out a few weeks ago. Whew, man, if I would have known it was that good, I would have eaten it like a cupcake on the way home.
Or you could have brought a slicer around.
There is not a slice left.
Oh gosh, story of my life. But anyway, we're right there at the corner of Depot and Pigeon Roost. We're in the heart of Old Town Olive Branch. And when you get to the bakery on Pigeon Roost, just take a left there with a second building on the right.
And you actually are in the building that used to be a theater back in the early days.
It was, I have it written down right here. It was 1946. It was a John Fort movie theater.
And I think that there were some important people that played there. Did Johnny Cash play there? I think Johnny Cash played there.
I think he did
imagine?
too. I think he did. I'm not sure on that. I don't have the history, but I do think somebody else told me he did.
Yep. So it's a great place, man. We appreciate everything you're doing for Old Town. We appreciate everything you're doing for Olive Branch. And I appreciate you as a friend. I think I stopped by a couple of weeks ago. I was driving the county and looking for land for my company to put some lots in, and I just popped in. I said, I cannot visit, but I couldn't pass by without stopping by and see you.
Well, we appreciate that.
Well, let's tell everybody again where they can find you and the best way to connect with you.
7536 Depot Street, Olive Branch. And if you have your pencil ready, 662-893-3082.
All right, Shaq, thanks so much for coming in. You're my
Thank
very
you.
first guest. You're one of my first friends.
I appreciate the privilege, and I hope you do well with your new show.
Oh, I think it's going to be great. We're excited about it. So
and I want to say my thanks to Mr. Rikard, because he sure has helped me a whole lot getting back into Old Town, or getting into.
Yeah, he's a helper of many people. He's
Yes,
helping produce this show. This is quite the studio for Olive Branch. We're in City Hall right now. Yeah, this has been TJ Cates with Good Morning Olive Branch with Jim Shackleford. And stay tuned. We're going to share a wonderful video from the Olive Branch Police Department. And we're going to come back in just a few minutes. And Sam Rikard himself, the past mayor, and the man himself. I mean, it's a big deal.
Indeed,
Sam
yes.
Rikard, we have so many things to talk about. So stay tuned. We're going to come back, and Sam Rikard will be sitting right here. We're going to have a discussion. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Trey Price with the Olive Branch.
Great job, man.
One type of crime we commonly encounter is an auto burglary. Auto burglaries typically cause costly damage to vehicle windows, doors, and locks, in addition to loss of valuables that are stolen from the vehicle. Most auto burglaries are crimes of opportunity, so the best prevention is to secure your valuables and make your car less attractive to thieves. Here are some quick tips. First, remove all valuables from plain view and take them with you when you exit the vehicle. Second, try to park in well-lit areas that are frequently passed by pedestrians. If you aren't able to take your valuables with you, store them in your trunk before you arrive at your destination. If a thief sees nothing of value in the car, they are more likely to move along. Third, roll up all windows, remove keys from the ignition, and lock the car, setting the car's alarm. An unlocked door or lowered window gives a thief plenty of opportunity to enter a vehicle. And last, call 911 if you witness anyone looking into vehicles. Be a great lookout for us. Provide a good description of the individual or individuals and the direction of travel if they leave the area. Please don't approach or confront the suspect if you see any of this activity.
Oh, we're back, TJ.
Hey, man, that's great. I was actually watching our show and watching the video from the Olive Branch Police Department. Now, they have a new building also, and the new building came in when you were mayor?
Right, that building, I think, was occupied in about 2010 or so. Yeah, so it's about 10 years old. The City Hall was built and occupied in 2005.
Really?
Yeah.
It's changed, and we talked about the design and some things that came up. Just we were talking to Jay Nichols in his office across the way, and we're talking about the different things that came up when you built. Introduce yourself. I know everybody knows you, but just in case I grab somebody that doesn't know you.
Everybody knows me. I'm Sam Rikard. I operate OBTVLive.com, Channel 19. I do weather forecast as a super busy hobby, I guess. I'm in here every morning from 4 a.m. till about 6:20 a.m. And we put out the weather, and I show traffic cams here also, and that goes out on Channel 19, which is a Comcast channel, and on OBTVLive.com, channels 1 and channel 2 during the morning hours. So I do that, and by the time I leave at 6:20, all the people that work in City Hall are slowly making their way in. So I tell them, as they're looking forward to their long day, my day's done.
But today we kept you in for the new show that you and I met
Yeah.
last week in my office, and we wanted to come up with something we could do. I think this is a great format for us. I've already been reached out to people that want to be guests on the show.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea. There's been not a really good way to talk about what's happening in Olive Branch. You know, and it's been scattered. We have newspapers that do their job from time to time. You know, sometimes they do it well here and sometimes not. But I think we need a show that just talks about a lot of the good things happening in Olive Branch and a lot of the things that people maybe just don't know about. Just like where Mr. Shackleford is located, as we said, it was a movie theater, and in the early days, Johnny Cash would come down and play his songs there. And the story goes, I think, that he basically introduced one of his songs here before it became a hit, and I think it was I Walk the Line. But anyway, he would come down looking for an audience, you know. And there always was an audience here in Olive Branch for Johnny Cash and others.
That's really, I like all the stories because you and I have been friends about 10 or so years, and I like everything you're doing. We're both kind of really into the video and productions and stuff. So you said at one time before it was Olive Branch, was it Cowpen? Was Olive Branch?
Yeah, you know, the communities had different names over the years. The first name was Cowpen, and the reason for that was in those days cattle was big industry, basically raising cattle, and Holly Springs was a really big place for that. And the farmers or cattlemen would drive their cattle toward Memphis where the stockyards were, where they sold their cattle, and Olive Branch happened to be about where they would be when the sun set. So there were pens built and cows held here overnight and then moved on to Memphis, you know, the next day. So, I mean, you know, accurately speaking, we were called Cowpen.
I would love
and
to
then we
walk the
became
street
Watson's Crossroad.
Okay.
After that, and that was because a Methodist minister came to town that everybody was particularly excited about, and his last name was Watson, and for whatever reason they called this place Watson Crossroad for a while. The name Olive Branch came when the post office was first placed here, and the ladies of town thought that, of course, Cowpen was not dignified enough, and Watson Crossroad didn't identify us, and they came up with the name Olive Branch, you know, based on the biblical story of Noah sending the dove out, coming back with an olive branch in their beak. So we've been Olive Branch
It's really nice.
ever since. In fact, CBS Sunday Morning came to town when we were named the fastest growing city in the nation over 2 decades, and the gentleman asked me, did I think that Olive Branch would be where it was today if we were called Cowpen? You know, I said probably not. You know.
And we just got a new designation a couple weeks ago through Money Magazine. We're number one. We're number 35 in the nation
Right.
as one of the best cities to live in.
Best places
and
to live.
the only city in the whole state of Mississippi.
Only stay, yeah, this time in Mississippi. We have been as high as like number 5 best place in the nation, and as down number 65, and now we're number 30, whatever. I just tell people we are, privileged to make the list of the best places to live in
I
America.
agree. I think it's wonderful. And the whole county of DeSoto County is wonderful.
Yeah.
I like how it's all starting to connect. When I was growing up in South Haven, we would drive down the road. And I remember it would always curve because we would go all the way down, down 72 to some land that we would play in. It would take forever to get through Olive Branch. But I remember all that. So it's everybody, and what I'm trying to make myself remember is it's not just the people that were raised here that live in Olive Branch now. We have a whole new group of people that are moving in every single day.
Well, there's far more people who've only lived here 15 years than people like me that have lived here all my life. When I was growing up in the 1960s, we had 650 people living in Olive Branch, and I think the population is probably 38,000 or so now.
At least,
So lots of folks have made Olive Branch home, and they have come to understand what we knew all along. The reasons why we stay here are the reasons why they move here. So.
Well, now we have I-69. When I would go back and forth to Nashville, I would use I-69 and cut down, and we have we're right below Collierville, Germantown, everything like that. I mean, we go to Center Hill, we go far all the way down towards Lewisburg. I mean, Olive Branch is really growing. I think this is a great show, and like I said, I have some people that have reached out. So if you want to be a guest on the show, please reach out to us, and we're going to be shooting the show live every single Tuesday at 10:30. So today is our pilot, I guess you could call it.
This is the premiere, right?
Any
The
glitches,
premiere,
though. It's
right?
the premiere.
Well, I don't know. We haven't looked at the recording yet to see if we don't even know if the audio's going out.
Oh, the audio is the best thing about it, I would imagine. So I appreciate you using everything that you've learned. Let's talk about your career, because you started out with the power company or telephone company.
It was, South Central Bell is what I started out with,
And then you went to be mayor of Olive Branch.
Right,
And how long was that?
Well, I spent 25 years at South Central Bell, and it became Bell South, and now it's called AT&T. And then I was the mayor for 16 years. And I tell people that one of these days I'm going to find something I really know, what I'm doing in. So now I do the kind of the TV thing and the streaming thing and weather, meteorology and all. But I have been, as Shaq said, I have been privileged to have done things over the years that I enjoyed doing. And of course there were hectic days in the mayor's office, but overall you could see that you were moving forward. At least in my opinion, we were moving forward, making things better. And there are always naysayers that say, well, we've grown too big, and that's just something a mayor has to learn to manage, because if you offer a good product, people are going to come. If we were small like we were back in the 1960s, that probably meant we were not doing something right.
Well, we moved down in the 70s from Memphis, and I think Scott's doing a really good job where he took the baton and he's kind of done some different directions. And I'm a big fan of him as a mayor and the board of aldermen. I think they're doing a great job, and they must be doing something right, because people are steadily coming down here. We're selling homes because I'm in the home building business, and we're building homes, and because there's no homes out. House list today, it might sell in 2 days. They used to be 30 to 45 days on the market, sometimes 60 to 90. And I mean, it's very rare to see a home that's on the market very long. And that's just the demand. Let's talk about something nobody really talks about is, let's say the I guess warehouses down Hanks Cross. There's new warehouses down in Goodman. We have a FedEx. I mean, we have a lot of things down here that are employing a lot of people.
The old Metro Industrial Park is pretty full, I think, at this point in time, and there are other areas just to the east of there that along DeSoto Road and Kirk Road out that way that have expanded, and there are large corporations out there with distribution warehouses. And then, of course, a new area now is near Ross Road and Church Road. Down in that area, which is just now developing into that type of market. So, FedEx and The View and a lot of companies, Milwaukee Electric has made huge investments here.
Oh, that's great.
Over the years. So it's still a booming market. In my mind, Now, you can work in Olive Branch, you can go to school in Olive Branch, you can go to church in Olive Branch, you can shop in Olive Branch. You don't have to
just
leave.
don't have
You don't
to
have to
leave Olive
leave.
Branch.
With Amazon ruling the world, you don't have to go anywhere else, if you can't find it in Olive
We
Branch.
do like the retail because when I met you, I think I was president of Windstone, and you came in and helped us with a lot of things that we needed help with. And that's when Target came in and all this stuff. Well, now there's so many nice upscale stores. There's great restaurants in town. I mean, there's a movie theater which we talked about forever. So I mean,
Right.
it's all here.
Yeah.
So it's really happening. So you were a big part of that. You took the leadership and went over. Now Scott's doing it.
I just
so.
tell people I was here. I was here when it happened, and I tried to do my best and make decisions that I thought was best for everyone. And, I look back and I can see some things that I would have changed, but I'm not going to talk about them here. You learn by doing things,
And now you're given such a great thing because, we have the Memphis News that do a wonderful job, but we need to cover more of what we have in DeSoto County and Olive Branch, and that's what we're trying to do here, is showcasing only Olive Branch on the show.
Yeah.
And, you're covering
We
weather.
might mention Hernando and South Haven and Horn Lake every
And
now and
Walls.
then, and Walls.
And
Yeah, we
Nesbitt.
might. Yeah,
And
we
Bridgetown.
might,
We definitely love Bridgetown.
Yeah, and Bridgetown is in our market,
Yeah.
our OBTV 19 market.
When I worked for HBO, we actually shot a movie down there, I guess about 8 years ago, 8 years ago, because it was set in the early 70s. And I've always loved Bridgetown and the Bridgetown market, and they put a little diner in there, so it's a lot of fun. Let's talk about where they can watch your weather and your traffic reports, because it's only around us. We're not talking about Dyersburg, and we're not talking about Jonesboro. We're
Right.
talking about us.
And then people will comment to me, they say, oh, well, you're more accurate than anybody. And I try to tell them, I only forecast for a small area. The TV meteorologists in the Memphis market forecast for 150 miles around. So they have to be more general, and it may not be raining in Dyersburg when it's raining here. But if you want to watch my weather, of course, I have my Facebook pages. Meteorologist Sam Rikard is where everything is posted. It also goes on Facebook pages, obtvlive.com, DeSotoCountyNewsroom.com, and in fact, it goes on the DeSotoCountyNewsroom.com website. The videos do, and it goes out on OBTV Channel 19 here. I'm in here mostly live from 4 a.m. to 6:20 a.m. when I think most everybody's gone to work or gone to school. I leave and go home also. But those locations are where you can find my forecast, and I do that 365 days a year, 7 days a week. Every day I'm in here unless I'm out of town. And if I'm out of town, you still see a limited video from me from wherever I am. So you get the forecast every day of the year.
And what I like is when we do have storms coming through, you actually gear us towards this is what we expect in Olive Branch, and you'll call out a street or a crossroad.
In fact,
that really means a lot.
the software that I have now, I can zoom in and put the street names on it and zoom in that close to it and show you that. Back on January the 11th, when we had tornadoes come through the area, I was in here at 5:30 to 6 o'clock doing what they call wall-to-wall, weather, and talking about the tornado that was coming up from south of Hernando through this area. And at the time when you're sitting in here and talking about it, you don't really know what it's doing out there. You see it on radar and you think it's doing something, but the reports of damage come in a little bit later because, if it hits your house, you're not going to call the news first thing. You're going to see if your family's okay and your pets are okay and what you need to do. So, I'm in here not knowing exactly what's happening
There
out.
was no windows.
Although I heard some sheriff and police reports of damage, at that point in time. So we knew something was going on. But at times when there's storms going on, I'm in here, and at other times I may be at home in front of my computer doing the same thing. But
I think it means a lot to be focused on DeSoto County. With you and I are both with DeSoto County Newsroom, and also on OBTV. I appreciate the invitation to be part of this now. This is great. Well, thanks so much, Sam Rikard.
Yes.
This has been great to have you, and thank you so much for helping us put this show together. This has been TJ Cates with Good Morning Olive Branch, my guest.
Sam Rikard with obtvlive.com. Thanks for watching.